Peace everyone, welcome back to Giganomics, and I've been avoiding making a full video about insurance for one reason. Everybody's situation is different states, different vehicles, and different services. A guy doing local pharmacy deliveries in a Corolla is not going to have the same insurance setup as someone driving a Sprinter van. And honestly, some of y'all are getting quoted crazy pricing simply because you're explaining your business wrong. You telling insurance companies medical transportation. Now they think you transporting patients, wheelchairs, doing Medicaid rides, or all type of stuff that you're probably not even doing. Meanwhile, most of y'all are delivering prescriptions, moving specimens, doing hospital discharge support, or running local courier routes. And that's a completely different type of operation. So in this video, I just want to help you understand the basics, what type of insurance people in this field usually gets, why cargo vans cost more, why local work is usually easier to insure, and how to explain your business properly when you call in around for quotes, because insurance isn't exciting until something goes wrong. Let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing you need to understand is the difference between personal insurance and commercial insurance. Personal insurance is designed for everyday driving, so your work commute, your grocery shopping, picking up your kids, and any regular personal use. The problem starts when the vehicle becomes part of your business operation. Now you making deliveries, picking up prescriptions, transporting medical specimens, carrying equipment, running routes, and servicing contracts. That changes your risk profile. So now again, every company is different, every state is different, and some insurance companies are more flexible than others. But generally speaking, once your vehicle is consistently being used for business use purposes, you need to start having conversations about commercial use coverage. And this is where people make mistake number one. They wait until after they land contracts to think about insurance. And that's a personal decision. Just know the risks that are involved. You need to understand your structure before you start scaling. Now, does that mean everybody needs a massive expensive policy on day one? Not necessarily, because that depends on your vehicle, your state, your radius, your cargo, your business type, and how often you operate. A local pharmacy delivery setup using an SUV part-time is going to look completely different from someone operating full-time freight in a Sprinter. And speaking of vans, a lot of people jump straight into cargo vans because YouTube make you think you need one immediately, but nobody talks about what comes with it. The insurance jumps, the maintenance jumps, and the exposure jumps. Insurance companies look at cargo vans differently because statistically, they use commercially more often, they drive longer distance, they carry heavier cargo, and many of them operate in higher risk industries, so like freight and expedited deliveries. So when someone say to me, Corey, I bought a Sprinter, but my insurance quote is crazy, honestly, I'm not surprised, especially if you told them you're doing interstate work, operating over long distances, hauling freight, crossing multiple states, or operating under expedited logistics. That's a much different risk category than local medical routes. And this is why I keep telling people, don't skip steps. A lot of successful people in this industry, they started with sedans, SUVs, minivans, crossovers, and they focus on local relationships, pharmacy deliveries, specimen runs, hospital support, and senior services. All lower overhead, lower fuel costs, and usually lower insurance pressure as well. Then they scale later. This right here is where a lot of y'all accidentally scare your insurance companies, and that's newer, non-emergency medical transportation. That means transporting people, wheelchair rides, Medicaid transportation, doctor transportation, and ambulatory support. That world has different insurance, different licenses, different regulations, and much higher liability. So when someone calls an insurance company and says, I do medical transportation, the insurance agent automatically start thinking passengers, medical liability, wheelchair risk, injury exposure, and patient transport. And the next thing you know, your quote goes through the roof. Meanwhile, what you really meant was, I deliver prescriptions locally, or I transport sealed medical specimens between facilities. That's a completely different conversation. And again, words matter. You need to clearly explain what you're transporting, whether you transporting passengers, your operating radius, whether you staying local, and what type of deliveries you perform. And this is why I always tell y'all, understand your business model first before randomly calling people, because confusion can randomly create expensive quotes. Now let's talk about some of the common coverages you're gonna hear about. And I'm not telling you what to buy, just helping you understand the language. You're commonly gonna hear about commercial auto, general liability, cargo coverage, hired/non-owned auto, workers' comp, and umbrella policies. Commercial auto is usually the foundation. That's the vehicle itself being covered for business use. Cargo coverage, that deals with what you're transporting. Now, depending on your niche, some clients may ask for cargo van insurance, especially if medications, specimens, equipment, or expensive medical products are involved. General liability, that usually protects the business side itself. And once you start dealing with hospitals, pharmacies, labs, facilities, contracts, and vendor agreements, you'll start seeing insurance requirements listed inside the contracts, and that's normal. A hospital may require a certain liability amount, proof of insurance, additional insured wording, or specific business classifications, and that's part of operating professionally. So here's what you should do. If you're just starting out, one of the smartest things you can do is keep your operation simple. Stay local, set a smaller radius, focus on building local relationships, have a reliable vehicle, and stay niche focused, because once you start adding interstate routes, expensive freight, heavy cargo, multiple drivers, a cargo van, or box truck, and overnight driving, everything changes. Insurance companies price based on risk exposure. So if you can, build a profitable local operation first. This gives you more flexibility while learning the business. That's literally one of the biggest reasons I push local relationship-based contracts so hard on this channel. Not because the money could be good, but because the structure is usually more manageable. Interrupt the video real quick. The reason he asked me for my insurance on the spot was because he just tripped and fell himself. That's what you see him explaining to me in the video. And even though this is my third time dealing with him, he never actually seen my insurance before. I can't highly recommend it. So we just got right to work from day one. But the fall had just happened literally 2 minutes before I arrived, and it got him thinking. That could have been the driver. What if the driver got hurt on my property? What if there was an accident? What if somebody else slipped and fell? Are they covered? Those are real concerns business owners think about, especially when they bring in someone new into their operation. Now back to the top. Now let me give you another mistake I see people make. Everybody wants the cheapest insurance quote, and I get it. When you start in a business, every dollar matters. But people get so focused on saving $50 to $100 that they never ask the more important questions. Will this policy actually help me land the type of contracts that I'm after? Because eventually you're going to run into a pharmacy, a hospital, a lab, or a facility that's going to ask you for proof of insurance. And sometimes they're going to have minimum requirements. Now imagine 6 months building this relationship, you finally get somebody interested in doing work with you, and then you find out your coverage doesn't meet their requirements. Now you scrambling, now you calling insurance companies, and now you trying to make changes at the last minute. That stress you could have avoided. I'm not saying go out and buy the most expensive policy available. I'm saying understand where you're trying to go, because the insurance you need for a few local deliveries today might not be the insurance you need 6 months from now when you're pursuing larger contracts. Build a business you're trying to become, not just the business you operate in today. If your goal is to eventually work with hospitals, pharmacies, labs, assisted living facilities, and healthcare organizations, then you need to start understanding what those clients typically expect. Because insurance isn't just protection. Sometimes it's part of your growth plan, and the people who think ahead usually have a much easier time scaling when opportunities start showing. So the biggest thing I want y'all to take away from this video is insurance is not just about price, it's about structure. The better you understand your business, what you carry, where you drive, how far you operate, who your clients are, and what services you actually provide, the easier these conversations become. And stop comparing your situation to random people online. A guy driving 2,000 miles a week in a cargo van is not going to have the same setup as someone running local pharmacy deliveries using an SUV. Two completely different businesses. So don't let insurance confusion stop you from getting started. Just focus on understanding your model, staying structured, asking questions, and building step by step. Because once you understand the business side properly, you stop moving like a gig worker and start moving like an operator. And that's the whole point of this channel. Peace.